And Randy, unfortunately, those questions, they still don't have a lot of answers tonight. The St. Paul Minneapolis Catholic Archdiocese, as well as the Missouri Synod Lutherans of Minnesota, had, of course, earlier this week said that they're going to resume services in defiance of the governor's order next week with some safeguards in place. Well, the governor, after several days of negotiations, had said he would be announcing something today, and then the president spoke and changed the whole playbook.
I'm correcting this injustice and calling houses of worship essential. The governors need to do the right thing and allow these very important essential places of faith to open right now for this weekend. If they don't do it, I will override the governors.
Shortly after the president's announcement, the CDC released new interim guidance for communities of faith, suggesting churches, synagogues, and mosques provide protections for those at risk through remote or online participation. Inside, it suggests churches encourage the use of masks for everyone older than 2 years old, stagger services and provide space for social distancing, frequently clean surfaces, provide hand sanitizer, and limit touching of shared objects like collection plates, Bibles, and hymnals. And speaking of singing, it encourages suspending or decreasing the use of choirs and congregate singing. But while the CDC considers the guidance non-binding, the Minnesota Department of Health would like to see the governor go further.
We, from an MDH standpoint, will continue to strongly recommend very good social distancing, limitations on numbers of people, limitations on activities, no singing, painful as that is. The data is pretty darn clear that talking and loud talking and singing are pretty important transmission risks, especially again in close quarters.
Though it's unclear where that leaves plans for the Catholic Archdiocese and the Missouri Synod Lutheran Churches, Minnesota's Rabbinical Association has said it will keep synagogues closed. And according to CARE Minnesota, mosques are not rushing to open. And the same goes for Minnesota's largest denomination of Lutherans.
The 6 ELCA bishops in Minnesota are in agreement about that, about waiting.
Bishop Ann Svenningsson says the ELCA Minneapolis Synod is encouraging its churches to make plans, but be patient.
The biggest question consistently is, what is the most loving thing to do for the neighbor, and particularly the vulnerable?
Now, the St. Paul and Minneapolis Archdiocese had been talking about many of the guidelines that the CDC guidelines included today, and we do know that they met with the governor tonight again, but we don't know from either side how those talks went or what that really means for, frankly, this weekend. The original plans were to start those services on Tuesday, and right now we don't have any indication that that is going to change. Randy?
All right. Thank you, Ken.